All right, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the recap. Michael D'Angelo and El Commandante Daryl Ortiz on the road. We're 1 week away, 1 week away from WrestleMania, Big D. It's interesting. I don't know. I feel like I haven't been all that excited about this, other than Lesnar versus Obafemi. There's a few matches that I think are cool. They did their mad dash here to fill out. We got another match added that I was like, oh, we got more celebrities added to the card as well.
Well, I
But
mean, that's what
let's dive
happens when
into
you're
it.
low on ticket sales. What do? You sprinkle in some celebrities.
I guess. Well, and this really did feel like, I'll say Raw and SmackDown felt more like, hey, we haven't sold all the tickets. Let's see what we can do to drum up interest. Let's throw in, like you said, more celebrity names, more shenanigans, and almost trying to pull more casual fans into it versus wrestling fans. Which is just, for me, just feels odd. But the celebrity cameos feel totally overblown now.
I agree.
Especially since I was going to say I Show Speed now is going to have a WrestleMania match, and he will have had a Rumble match and a WrestleMania match, and that's pretty ridiculous as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah,
But let's get into it.
it's interesting, and I'm not. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that right now. But yeah, so well, I mean, let's just kick this off. Then we got Raw, probably one of the better promos of the night. I feel it opened up with CM Punk doing like his own pipe bomb, but it wasn't really a pipe bomb. You could obviously it was scripted, obviously, right?
Yeah.
Well, not scripted, but it wasn't as devastating as the one he initially did when he went completely off the rails. This one was meant to sound that way, but it wasn't.
But this one wasn't approved. It was totally an approved fight bomb, because when he was going through it, I'm like, okay, this is being done very tactically, and this is not him speaking from his heart off the cuff at
No,
all.
no, this is him trying to sell tickets to WrestleMania because
Yeah.
I'll explain that here in a second. So he, of course, he called out Pat McAfee, who's been cosplaying as a rebel while cashing checks. Of course, he talked trash about because obviously Pat McAfee's insertion was due to his agent being one of like the top guys, big wigs with TKO, which is probably why he got inserted. He also was going at Roman Reigns pretty heavy, and of course there was actually a really good line that made me kind of chuckle when he said that he was eating dog food for
For a weird
the
old
boss,
man.
yeah, for
Yeah.
the old man. Obviously, we know what that was. We knew what that meant. That was back
Yeah.
to when he was with the Shield, and they yeah,
They
it was the
handcuffed
big
him to the
dog.
ring post and like threw dog
Yeah,
food on him, right? Yeah.
but that was a good line. I enjoyed that. Honestly, I feel this was, although this wasn't like a true pipe bomb per se, because like we're used to the original pipe bomb, but I felt this was probably one of his better promos since being back in WWE. I really liked it. It hit a lot of different areas because of course he was sitting on the floor. He had the title kind of there, and he was talking to the camera like it was 2011 again, and then he was kind of sort of breaking character, talking about frustration for the tickets because the prices were so high and families can't do it. And he was like, hey, TKO, you should probably lower your pricing because families can't even go watch it anymore. And I want everybody
Yeah.
there so they can see me beat up Roman Reigns and blah, blah, blah. Cool. I loved it. But clearly, this was a ploy to get people to talk about ticket prices because conveniently that night the ticket prices dropped for
Yeah.
WrestleMania because there's a ton still available. So this was more
Well,
just like a sorry.
it was. No, you're right. Because I was like, when I was watching that going, you're trying to pretend that CM Punk has called it out and put people on the spot. It's like, you guys were already going to do that. And they really didn't even lower ticket prices, because you had Pat McAfee on SmackDown talking about how he got Dodge Ram to come out and sponsor a 25% off Saturday only. So it's not even CM Punk's match. 25% off Saturday only tickets. And I'm like, okay, so you didn't lower the prices. Like, you're just getting a sponsor. The sponsor's paying to cover it, and they're using sponsor dollars to get a 25% discount. So TKO didn't really lower a lot
Well,
of these prices anyway.
it's funny because like speaking of copy paste for Raw and SmackDown, right? You had
Yeah.
CM Punk do like an over inflated commercial, really like a
Mm-hmm.
sale advertisement, and you had Pat McAfee do a sale advertisement because essentially they're saying that the WrestleMania tickets are going on sale now. They're on a special price, discounted. Buy them now, and it's like, I mean, they dropped the price significantly if you think about it. Like I think the ringside seats were down to like about $2,300 when I saw, which is a WrestleMania average. Well, not average. It's still kind of high for WrestleMania, but still that's more like understandable. I think like the higher up seats are now like at $300, $200, which is what I would expect for a WrestleMania ticket.
Right.
But I'm like, why wait? Well, because I think this is TKO realizing that they gouged way too high, and it's honestly because they wanted to do it in Vegas again, and they wanted to make it like this premium event and all this garbage. And it's like they double dipped. The reason they're having issues with their ticket sales is because they double dipped in the same venue twice, and that's like that's a big thing in wrestling. Like we know this, you don't just oversaturate and overuse the same area for like a big show like that. You don't,
Yeah.
because you drain it, and that's exactly what happened. Even though it is Vegas, like that's what happened. They should have kept it at Louisiana and New Orleans, because they probably wouldn't have had an issue, because it's probably would have sold out as well a little bit quicker than Vegas, that they're struggling right now. Because you have to keep in mind too, flights to Vegas aren't cheap. I mean, sometimes they are, depending if you go Spirit, but
Yeah, depending on where you're flying from, but yeah, this was totally a money grab that didn't work. And I think for me, it's also about they're trying so hard to kind of script it as the talent's rebelling because they really care about the people. I'm like, none of you guys care about the people. This is all completely orchestrated to try to sell tickets.
y'all
Now
got
you were
paid.
already going
You're
to
good.
lower it. Yeah, they're all fine, but like it just seems silly. And what's funny too about the talk about the copy paste for Raw and SmackDown, because it was like dueling promos between CM Punk and Pat McAfee, which I'm
And
starting to wonder now, is Pat McAfee gonna be involved in CM Punk's main event too? Because he's already gonna be involved in Randy Orton, Cody Rhodes, but he's been doing more jawing with CM Punk than he has with Cody. So are you going to have him pop up in both main events, which would be ridiculous? And is he going to pop up and cost CM Punk the title? And that's how they're going to do this, because it's odd that he's interjected himself, obviously, as like Randy Orton's kind of manager slash advocate, but he's been specifically targeting CM Punk a lot more in
mhm.
terms of the jawing back and forth than he has for Cody, which is odd.
I mean, either they truly don't like each other, and this is just
Yeah,
like they're catching strays, or they just, I mean, it's just going off this. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
don't know.
But speaking of stuff I don't know about, we had Austin Theory versus LA Knight.
Yeah,
ISHO Speed was actually brought out to the Vision's corner again. He was just trying to find Danhausen to lift the curse. LA Knight did well. Of course, Logan Paul distracting, and then they had LA Knight there outside the ring, and Logan Paul shoves ISHO Speed into LA Knight, and so that's what kind of caused like a little bit of chaos after, because with the distractions, because ISHO Speed's trying to go leave, and then the Usos came out to distract him. But with all that distraction shenanigans, because we knew that this wasn't really going to be a match to determine anything, LA Knight got rolled up. Austin Theory won. Then Adam Pearce came out because LA Knight got mad and wanted to include ISHO Speed in the match. And sure enough, now we have a 6-man tag: the Usos and LA Knight versus the Vision and ISHO Speed. Begrudgingly, but ISHO Speed is going to be in WrestleMania versus.
yeah, this is
It's just,
ridiculous.
yeah.
I'm okay with doing one celebrity match, but now it feels like we're having too many celebrities involved now.
Yeah.
Because you have ISHO Speed in the match, you're gonna have what little I don't know, I can never remember his name, little
Lil Yachty.
Easy, little Yachty. Little Yachty is gonna be at ringside, obviously, for the US Championship match. You're gonna have Pat McAfee involved. You're definitely going to have Jelly Roll involved after SmackDown, because it was obvious. As soon as Jelly Roll popped up on SmackDown, I was like, oh, we talked about this. He's going to pop in and be in the corner. There's entirely too many celebrities now and too many celebrity cameos. It's just way too much. Way too much. And I'm also looking at this too, going, there's all these very deserving wrestlers. Sorry, my daughter's trying to break in. Her banging on the door. She's like, Dad, what's up? It's all right, honey. So it's one of those things where there's so many deserving wrestlers who haven't had the opportunity to wrestle in the Royal Rumble and wrestle at
Right.
WrestleMania that got slots. And ISHO Speed got both primes. So ISHO Speed and Joe Hendry have had the same number of WrestleMania appearances and Royal Rumble appearances. That's ridiculous.
And one of them is contracted with the company, the other one's not.
The
So
other one
there
is
we go.
not. So come on.
Yeah. Well, continuing on with shenanigans here, we had Finn Balor versus JD McDonough, which on paper would have been a great match.
Yeah,
However, it never started
it didn't
because
happen. Yeah.
Finn Balor just attacked him from behind. They beat him up, choked him with the chair, and all that essentially led to Finn Balor teasing. And I hate that they did this. So he was
Yeah.
teasing that the demon was going to come out for WrestleMania. And then on SmackDown, they just flat out said, like,
They
it's
just
the
said,
demon.
by the way, Demon's back, and they flashed it
I
up
hate
like
that.
where
Again,
he's in the
they're
Demon.
desperate for
Let it
ticket
be a
sales. They're desperate for
surprise.
views. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. let him tease it and then let him come out as it. Like let it be. Let's organically just happen. And it's just
Yeah.
like, nope, here we
Well,
go,
we
blast it
we
out
have been waiting how many years now for Demon King to come back?
forever.
And they've teased it, and we were like, we've waited for like dream matchups, and I'm like, this is how you're gonna do it now? Like almost as like a last minute afterthought. Oh, by the way, you want to see Demon Finn Balor? He'll be back. And it's like, okay. Like now you are this is like everything that's happened on both shows this week kind of reeked of desperation. Of we have got to try to juice ticket sales. You want to see Demon Finn Balor? Done. You want to see iShow Speed in a match? He's like the most popular streamer in the world. Done. It's like you guys are just you're pulling out all the stops, but not in a good way.
Yeah, I agree. It's I'm a little disappointed in that. But I'm not just let me get this straight. I'm not disappointed that we're gonna see Demon Finn Balor, which I love Demon Finn Balor. And I hope they you know what though, they owe him this, give him the grandest freaking entrance that they can
Yeah.
as
Make
the
it over the
demon, like
top.
pull out all the
Yeah.
stops on that because that's what needs to happen. After that, we had AJ Lee attempting to be interviewed by Adam Cole, sorry, Michael
Adam
Cole.
Cole, baby.
Wrong. Sorry. But
Michael
anyways,
Cole.
Michael Cole and Becky Lynch disrupts it. So it never really happened. But to me, this was probably the better promo between the two than anything they've done in ring. And I think this was a very like they sat down, were facing each other. It was a very intimate, just intense conversation. Really, it didn't feel like a promo. It looked like they were just literally like, talking to each other. And this was actually a very effective way to build the feud. I feel this built more tension than any pull apart brawl could have. And I enjoyed it very much. It was very good pre match storytelling. AJ Lee told her, when you go home and you took your daughter in, ask her who your favorite wrestler is, she's going to say it's AJ Lee. And it's not like in a condescending way. Like the way
Yeah.
AJ delivered it was kind of like it's okay. Like it's
Yeah.
funny, but I loved it. It was great. I don't know. What did you think?
No, I thought this was good. So I agree. I thought this was the best promo that these two have had together, just because it had gotten so formulaic with them yelling at each other on the microphone out at ringside, and with Becky going, I'm the greatest wrestler ever. Sports Illustrated says so. Like that had gotten so old hat. This was a nice change of pace, and it did feel more authentic, and it felt more sincere and personal. So I really liked everything about this. Not super looking forward to their match. I haven't been, but because for me, I felt like this kind of ran its course a little bit. But this I thought was a nice, fresh take on it right before we get up to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I liked it. After that, we had Bailey versus Lash Legend, which of course more shenanigans because we had Nia Jax kind of tripping Bailey ringside, and then Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair came out to attack Nia Jax before Bailey jumped out and attacked everybody. And then Lash Legend was going to attempt a superplex, but then Lyra Valkyria held her leg long
Yeah,
enough so that Bailey can counter and get on top for the win. So
they cheated.
okay,
The baby faces cheated to win this match, which is a little odd. It was a weird ending for me where I'm looking at this, and it did feel like when it started, I was like, this is probably going to end in a DQ, which is because every single matchup leading up to the women's Fatal 4-Way tag has been like a DQ funky finish. So I was
mm-hmm.
half expecting that. So when it ended with cheating, I was like, oh, that's still a weird finish. But yeah, this one was kind of what it was.
Yeah, it was. After that, we had Seth Rollins coming out to kind of cut his first official promo, right, on Raw since returning. Like he's actually back now, and he got his proper entrance and everything. And then as he's talking down to Gunther, he gets attempted to be choked out. He gets out of it. It's kind of like a pull apart brawl, just to kind of again build heat for um, WrestleMania, which we really still don't know why they're doing this. And then
Yeah.
after the fact, we had Gunther in talking to Paul Heyman, but he said, how Paul Heyman asked him, "Hey man, why are you helping?" He's like, "I'm not complaining, but why are you helping me?" kind of thing. And Gunther told him, it's very personal, but not for the reasons you're thinking. And he put his hand out to shake his hand. And when he did, and of course Paul Heyman said thank you, but Gunther kind of held him and said, "You owe me so much more than a very big thank you." And so that implies really that Gunther has ulterior motives, and I'm thinking that that's going to be he wants to retire Brock Lesnar because we know Brock
Yeah,
Lesnar
I
is already
agree.
on his retirement run. So I'm assuming that's what that's going to mean later on down the line. But that's because Gunther kind of it's more strategic, which is actually really cool storytelling if you think about it. Because Gunther's known as the ring general, and being able to maneuver his way through like that and use Paul Heyman as the catalyst to kind of help him get that match that he wants to retire the next person. One thing to note real quick, The Rollins Gunther segment, actually, I was looking at it, did not have any listed writers or producers on the internal run sheet, which is very weird because it suggests that this was heavily improvised and was just directly oversaw by Triple H or Paul Heyman themselves, which I thought was actually pretty interesting and intriguing because that's like it's one of the most compelling segments of the night, but it wasn't even scripted. It was the least scripted, which is actually really, really cool. If you let wrestlers just be themselves and be organic and do it themselves, it'll be so much better. But
Yeah,
anyways, your
you can
thoughts
do
on it
good
all?
stuff. Yeah, no, this was good. It's interesting that they took the whole like Paul Heyman didn't go recruit him; that he was just as confused as everyone else, which was cool because for my thing it was like why does Heyman always get new cronies? So this is a little bit of a change of pace, which is nice. As soon as he said that whole like it was basically like the Rocky 3 you owe me a favor thing.
Mm-hmm.
So when it happened, I was like, okay, the favor I agree is going to be he's going to face off against Brock Lesnar in a retirement match. One maybe SummerSlam, maybe coming up this year,
Maybe.
because remember Lesnar's 48 years old. He is on the run. So on this final run, I assume he's going to have to lose to Obafemi, and then he'll do his retirement match and lose to Gunther, which will be interesting. That also tells me that Gunther needs to beat Seth Rollins, and I'm assuming there's going to be shenanigans there too. That there's going to be like a returning Braun Breaker is going to help. Something will happen.
Well, because I heard Braun Breaker's actually cleared now.
Yeah, I heard he was cleared too. So I'm presuming that Gunther will win because you'll get Breaker in there because nobody can lose clean at this point. But no, this was good stuff.
I like that. After that, we had actually a match I enjoyed very much. It was Penta, Javon Evans, and Dragon Lee versus Los Americanos, all three of them, which was actually really cool. This was honestly, there wasn't, at first you think about it, there's not really much because these guys are going to be opponents in a week.
Yeah, it
But
didn't make a ton of sense for them to all tag together.
I think this was
It was
more, you're
fun
talking
though.
about they're trying to pull in the casual fans. This was more to show the casual fans what true high flyers can do in a match together to kind of hype up the ladder match. This really was. I mean, of course, Penta Evans and Dragon Lee did take home the victory, which was good. And then after that, one of the most interesting parts was that Rey Mysterio came out to insert himself into the ladder
Yeah,
match. So it's going to be a 6-man ladder match, which is going to be
yeah.
really cool to see because it's going to be it's going to be Penta, Rey Mysterio, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, JD McDonough, and Rusev, which is actually going to be really cool. So I'm excited for it. That's really all this was, to showcase and build up the ladder match. But
Yeah.
um, I thought Rey Mysterio was hurt, which is why I originally thought he was going to face Gunther at WrestleMania in a retirement match. I guess which is going to be in the ladder match, and it's
Well, I feel like this is almost like I got a little sad because I felt like it was cool to see him. I'm like, oh, Ray's here. Oh, he's going to be in the ladder match, and it was like, I feel like this is it. I feel like like this is his last WrestleMania,
I
and
think
that's
so.
why they're doing it. And because of all the people that I would imagine, I didn't think John Cena would retire before Rey Mysterio
Yeah,
did. Same thing with AJ Styles. Ray's been around for so long, so it's a little bittersweet, kind of knowing. And I'm thinking, do they let him? I assume they're not going to let him win. I presume Penta's probably going to retain, or you might have the swerve. Might be Javon Evans wins because he's so over right now. But or maybe you let Ray have one last title run
I
and
think
he
they
wins
might.
he wins ladder match. It's very possible.
Yeah, they might. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see.
After that, we had Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus Michin and BFAB. This was fine, but again, this was really more just for them to build up the WrestleMania feud because
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley and Jade Cargill really had nothing to feud about until now, I
Mhm.
guess, because the match was okay. It was a standard match, but post matches where it really happens. Jade Cargill got into the ring, unloaded on Io Sky with a kendo stick, while BFAB and Michin held her in the corner so that she can essentially watch her best friend get beat up with a kendo
Yeah.
stick. And it was interesting because this is going to be the story, right? Because they hurt Io, and we got some of it on SmackDown, but
Hmm.
that's really what this was. That this was just more to set up and actually develop some kind of heat between Jade and Rhea to kind of push the WrestleMania match. So
Yeah. Yeah, and it's for me, like you said, it was the continuation on SmackDown where it was like this, like to be continued because SmackDown it was Io versus Jade is like the main event,
Mhm.
which I'll also tell you, it feels like they never like there was way too many matches, not necessarily on Raw, definitely on SmackDown. That was like we're making this match, and the entire card was made during the show. And I'm
Mhm.
like, wait, they all showed up at the arena and there were no matches scheduled, which is a little odd. But yeah, it's also odd too. It feels like Rhea's been on the losing end like in every single confrontation so far. You know, not really on SmackDown, and we'll talk about that right now. But she's been Jade and her cronies have kind of gotten one up on everybody, or
Mm-hmm.
run up on Rhea and run up on Io this entire time. So I'm assuming that means we're going to get Rhea winning the title at WrestleMania, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. After that, we actually, speaking of titles, we had Liv Morgan talking to Roxanne Perez backstage during the Judgment Day at the Judgment Day's clubhouse, being, thanking her and kind of making sure she understands that Finn Balor's gone, and that because Finn Balor is the one that brought Roxanne Perez into the fold. She's kind of doing like a temperature check there, but she couldn't do it because she was too busy jamming her head into the teeth of Roxanne Perez
Yeah,
because
that
Stephanie
was
came
ugly
and
when it
just
happened.
clubbed the hell out of her. And you heard that thud after match. You could see the big old lump on Liv Morgan's forehead.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't know if she tripped or what, but she laid into her pretty hard. That was a vicious hit. But yeah, glad she's
Yeah,
okay.
she ran, and when Stephanie Vaquero hit her, you could hear the impact. And when I saw it, I was like, man, that was a real collision. Like they actually did clank heads. So it looked bad when it happened in real time. When you saw the pictures later where she has the huge lump, everyone's like, oh, that's fake. I'm like, that's not fake. Like they really
Yeah,
did crash heads.
no, she legit like hit her
It was
chin or
bad.
her teeth or
Yeah.
something. Yeah. Yeah. But again, this was really more so she's again just building up on the feud because she was talking about her mother and all that stuff. So yeah, that's gonna be interesting. We'll see how that goes. Main event time
Yeah.
was
Main event.
contract signing between Obafemi and Brock Lesnar, which was odd because as Obafemi was coming out, the credits were already rolling because they
Yeah.
ran out of time on a show where Triple H said there is no
There's
time.
no time limit. It's on Netflix. Like what the
And,
heck?
but
What
yet we
gives?
had to roll credits, and this ended soon as because they started brawling. Obviously, Brock Lesnar trying to get the best of Obafemi. Again, I'm
Well,
extremely excited to see this match. This is a match I'm
no
probably most.
contract got signed though, like that I know of, because they immediately just started brawling. So there was no signing. There was chair throwing, and then they cut off air, and it was like, okay, so I mean, I'm assuming they finished fighting and then they just signed the contract.
Triple H
That's
probably
all.
walked to each of them and had them sign and left. I don't know.
They left. I'm assuming that's what happened, but it was so bizarre because, like you said, there are no time constraints on Netflix. So this should have played out for as long as it needed to play out, versus it looking like, hey, we ran out of time. Let's just cut away. It was so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It was just odd. It was odd to me, but I don't get it. It's that's the part I don't get. Like they're rolling credits as they're making their entrances, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Like this is not like you're on Netflix, guys. This is why you left the network so that way you can just have as much time as you want. But
Yeah, as
whatever.
much time as you want. Well, it's time management felt like it was a theme for both shows because
Yes,
SmackDown was 3 hours and 2 minutes. It ran over slightly, but most of SmackDown was promos, video packages, backstage segments. It was very little
recaps.
actual wrestling, mostly recaps, and they still ran over 2 minutes. And the main event was unbelievably short. The main event was like less than 10 minutes, and it felt so rushed. And I was looking at the time, going, there is no. They could have cut one of those segments. They could have cut one of those video packages and saved some time.
They could have just
And
cut
they
all
have
the
real people.
recaps for the WrestleMania matches that
Yeah,
aren't SmackDown competitors. Like
yeah.
they're showing a recap of Raw of CM Punk's breakdown. They're showing all kinds of stuff. It's almost as if WWE is getting desperate for ticket sales, and they're like, "Hey, casual viewer watching us on network television, here's what you're missing on Netflix." Like
Yeah.
it's like, guys, come on.
It was too much self promotion and not enough fun. And it started off, SmackDown started with Cody and Nick in the parking lot, Nick Aldis and Cody Rhodes. Cody wanted Pat McAfee. Nick was under orders from someone up the top above everyone's pay grade to keep Pat safe. No one's allowed to touch him. No employee's allowed to touch him. And then Jelly Roll popped into frame. We had talked about this. I was like, Jelly Roll is obviously going to be in Cody's corner. And of course he was. He was like, I'm not on the payroll. I can hit him. And was kind of playing that angle that he's not an employee, so the thing didn't apply. A little jarring to start off. And then you had the official like opening promo was Rhea Ripley came out next, and then basically just said Jade attacked my EO, so now it's personal. And it was like, really? That's like she attacked your EO and now it's personal, and she was going to kick her butt. And then EO came out was like, I want my pound of flesh and I want to face Jade Cargill in the main event. And Nick Aldis came out and said, that's a good idea, even though like EO's still injured.
Yeah, she's literally like limping. She has her elbow bandage. She has like
Yeah,
bad
she's like
ribs.
holding her ribs, and she's like, "Yeah, I want to face the champion in the main event." And Nick's like, "Cool," and made it
Do it.
official. It was like, all right. We didn't have a main event scheduled, apparently. Every single match felt like it was made on the spot or during a backstage segment during the show. So I'm like, wow. And so Nick shows up and just doesn't have a show booked. After this, we had Bayley versus Alexa Bliss, kind of the continuation of let's have all the women's tag competitors kind of face off and see what happens and have it end with shenanigans. This one was fine. And it was like ended very, very oddly because there was interference, of course. During the match, Charlotte threw her jacket in Bayley's face and Alexa got a surprise roll up. It was one of those like, can we have one of these matches without something weird happening? But no, it was a very, very weird finish where she just threw her jacket at her and she was like, oh, and then she surprised roll up and
Yeah.
was like, all right, Alexa won. What did you think of this one? Because I was just like baffled.
I mean, they had to make the hometown person lose, right? That's the
Yeah.
typical thing. So that's obviously they
Yeah, because they're
always
in
do
what,
that.
San Jose.
Yeah, they're in San Jose, and I mean, it was. I hate that they do this. Like, rather than each of them just have their own matches, do their own thing, still get ready for their WrestleMania match, they just decide to throw them together. It's just, I'm not a fan of it. I'm not. The finish was weak, and it makes Bailey look kind of like clumsy and silly, and I'm not. I don't know. I was not a fan of this match at all. Of course, this means I'm assuming that the Irresistible Forces are going to retain because that's just, I don't know. It's something tells
I
me
would
the way
assume.
that the way
Well,
that
I would. I was. They should. I'm still thinking that the Bellas are going to win.
I hope not.
I hope not, but I feel like it's coming. They love WWE loves having part timers. I mean, bearing in mind, it's like you have AJ Lee, who's basically she's not really a full time wrestler anymore, and she's the champ. You've got CM Punk, who yeah he's basically been wrestling full time, but it's like you're kind of going to the well on all these older stars. I feel like kind of the continuation of that theme is that they're gonna have the Bellas wins. Well, we'll see. We'll see. And like I said before, there was a lot of video packages here. So we had Drew McIntyre versus Jacobs video package that happened after this. We had a whole Royce Keys video package about his childhood. We had Shawn Michaels documentary video package. Like it was video package after video package after video. We had Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar, a whole video package for their WrestleMania. They should have cut some of these video packages out. It was just way too much. I wish it had been more wrestling focused. And then after that video package with Royce Keys, you got Berto versus Royce Keys, which I was like, okay, this is going to be a squash. It better be. And it wasn't a squash. It was I'll call it a dominant victory. It was a good match. It was a little showcase match. wasn't truly a squash, but you had Royce Keys hit the spine buster for
Well,
the
it
win.
was kind of like hey, he overcame two opponents essentially because
Yeah,
you had shenanigans on
it's
the
Los
outside.
Garza. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was nice to finally see him wrestle on SmackDown. I will say, because this is his first match since the Royal Rumble. You know, he had his Rumble debut, and then he's kind of disappeared. So he came back. So it was good to see him there. And then you had Pat McAfee arrive in full heel mode, jawing and pushing and shoving Jelly Roll. He came out to the ring to cut a promo, just being over the top, cursing, flipping the bird, calling himself a hero, calling CM Punk a spineless bum, calling him out for all the merchandise that CM Punk has at WWE.com. Said that he made the deal with Ram Trucks to give 25% off Saturday WrestleMania tickets if you purchase it this weekend. So it was just like a very, very, very long promo because he talked for a long time. And then once he started talking about Cody's music hit, and Cody said Pat doesn't belong here. And that basically he's not a real superstar. We can do the superstar experience with him. This just went back and forth for a long time. They could have cut probably 5 minutes from this and saved a little bit more time for the main event, but it went for a very, very long time because then we cut to the back and Randy Orton finally came on the Tron. He had beat up Jelly Roll and then he dragged Jelly Roll out to the stage, and then Orton attacked Rhodes. Cody and Jelly Roll tried to fight the good fight, but to no avail. And so you had McAfee and Orton standing tall, and then Pat stole the title from Cody and then
Yeah.
just walked off. It was a really long segment, a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I think what WWE did at this point, they figured nobody's booing Randy, so let's get
Yeah.
somebody they can boo, and it's going to be Pat McAfee because Pat McAfee, he's normally a face, even on his own podcast. He's a nice
Yeah.
guy, but for God's sakes, the guy gives out money to college kids kicking field goals on
Yeah. He does
college
huge
game day,
amounts of
right?
charity stuff. Yeah.
He's a good guy, but they're just like, who can talk and annoy the crap out of people better than Pat McAfee as well.
Yeah.
So he did. He's instigating. He's just all he's doing is saying triggering phrases, triggering words just to get the booze going. So he's doing his job. He's getting the heat,
He is, but
but
he's
Randy
getting
Orton
like
still isn't
go
getting
away
booed.
heat. He's not getting like real heat, like hey, you're a
No,
good heel. He's getting like go away, we don't like you heat, which is bad.
yeah. And so, of course, he did say that if Orton loses, he's gone, which means obviously Randy Orton's going to win. Which I'm glad. I'm glad. I would love to see Randy Orton win. I said he deserves to win. This would be great. But he did. I like the little. I like the little. You could tell times have changed since Vince was in charge because there was references to AEW. He said, "Why don't you go be elite with one of your friends or whatever?"
Yeah.
And come on, Stardust. And he's like calling them all the. And I liked it, but there's something I missed last week because I was trying to like unpack the promo he did prior and I missed it. And so I'm gonna Cody Rhodes actually called it out very, very bluntly. And I caught on to it. I was gonna bring this up today, but then I heard Cody Rhodes say it too. Pat McAfee talking about Randy Orton and him and the Attitude Era, and it's true. The Attitude Era was well before Randy Orton's time. Randy Orton never wrestled in the Attitude Era, so that was kind of like that was a good call out on Cody's part because it you could tell from my understanding, Pat McAfee did not want to do this. He did not want to do the heel turn. He did not want to do the heel promo last week. He didn't want to do it. But of course, they're trying to get him more gigs booked. His agents working for TKO, so obviously they told him just do it, it'll be fine. And so you could tell that's why there was hesitation the first day he did it, and then now he's kind of just going into it just to kind of do it. But I like that Cody called that out because you can tell he's like you're essentially he's like you're just talking out of your ass, like you're not like you don't know what you're talking about. You're a casual fan, whatever.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of while they're trying to pull in the casual fan, they're saying and making a lot of references that a casual fan will not get. Like us, we'd understand because he's talking about the wrestling business, talking about marks, talking about you know um, cosplaying as a wrestler, pretending to be a wrestler, all
Yeah.
that good stuff. Like he's talking about all that most casuals do not know what that means. They don't. I mean, half of them can't even explain kayfabe. I'm sure they don't understand what kayfabe
Yeah.
is because kayfabe's been broken. I mean, I get what they're trying to do, but it's kind of contradicting to why they're doing it, so to speak. So,
No, and I agree. And here's the thing for me that I feel is sad. I feel like they're doing all of this stuff and they're making all these random pivots and their thought behind it is, oh well, don't worry, tune in to WWE Unreal in a few months and you'll get to see what was really happening. And I feel like now because they do this whole pull the curtain back thing, we're going to see more of these weird random like things happen, and it's like if you want to know the real story, like you're almost doing it to try to set up your TV show, and I don't like that. But there will be a whole thing about Pat McAfee on WWE Unreal and all the stuff backstage to be like, see, look, he wasn't really down with doing this, and he didn't want to, but we kind of realized there was an opportunity here, and we need to try to boost ticket sales. All this is going to get played for views on Unreal,
mhm,
which is like for me kind of a bummer. That shouldn't be the motivation.
I agree.
After this, you had the Miz upset backstage about the ref curse from the previous week, as was Kit Wilson, and then Nick offered to have Danhausen versus Kit Wilson. So we got the first Danhausen match on SmackDown. That didn't happen right now. It happens in a little bit. I will say it already. That was my favorite thing about SmackDown
Yes,
was Danhausen Kit Wilson.
Wilson.
But
Kit
before we
Wilson.
Yeah, yeah. Kit Wilson, not Kip Wilson. Tama Tonga versus Jacob Fatu was after this. This was a really good match. Jacob won clean with a moonsault. Afterwards, you had Drew McIntyre do a sneak attack, though, and this went on for a while also.
It went uncomfortably long.
Uncomfortably long. However, he laid out Jacob with a claymore, threw him into the steps, took a steel chair to the back, future shock DDT on the floor, then handcuffed Jacob, threw him into the ring post, handcuffed him to the ring post, kicked him in the face. He fell to the floor and the cuffs popped off because they weren't really working properly. He recuffed him to the post again, cuffs popped off again. Security was doing nothing to help except go, no, Drew, no. This went on way too long. And again, it was like I would have loved to have seen more actual wrestling. Like all the matches were short. The matches were pretty short, and this was so promo heavy and more segment heavy than anything. That if Drew had just shown up and claymored him and thrown him into the steps, did the Future Shock GT and stopped it there, it would have been fine. The
Yeah,
handcuffing thing and kind of messing up that spot multiple times took me out of it. It just went on too long.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And then he was whipping him with the belt. I mean, to
Yeah.
me, I almost feel like what he should have done was claymored him, handcuffed him with regular cuffs behind his back, and then hit the future shock DDT, and then left.
Yeah. And then left.
Like
Yeah.
that to me would have been more effective or as effective as this, especially because those cuffs busted open. Unfortunately,
Yeah. Twice. The gimmick cuffs just weren't working. Speaking of segments that went on for too long, after this, you had Sami Zayn out cutting a promo, getting booed and cheered, mostly booed though. I tried to justify his actions as of late, but yes, he's being more selfish, but he cares about the fans who've always had his back and he'll never betray himself. It was kind of weird and all over the place.
he's saying about the fans and he's getting booed.
And he's being booed. Yeah, he's like, my fans, and there's like one person going, yeah. There's like one Sami Zayn fan that was like cheering, and that he doesn't know what he did to get booed, but he doesn't really care. And then Trick Williams came out to cut a promo on Sammy. He was getting cheered more than booed, and he's the heel. They've got to do a double turn with these two at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
They just have to.
I think that's what
Said
they're trying
Sammy
to
was
do.
yeah, I think so too. I think they better because at this point, this is what the crowd's going for. And basically, he was like, Sammy can't stand his flavor. And along a stylish way, he said he was going to win at WrestleMania. You had little Yachty out there jawing too much. Again, too much celebrity involvement. This one went on a little bit too long too. We didn't need all this stuff from little Yachty. Thankfully, Matt Cardona's music hit because Matt Cardona and Trick Williams had made a match earlier, so he came in to start the match. So that's what ended this segment. But again, they could have shaved a few minutes off of this. It didn't need to go on as long as it did.
I agree. It's Sammy's promo of all time of all promos that he's done. This one felt a little more awkward. Like he didn't. I think because he was caught off guard, he didn't realize he was going to get booed. Because he was even like, "Oh, okay." Like he was
Yeah,
thrown
he's like,
off.
I'm not sure why I'm getting booed. And it was like, you're not? Like, come on.
Like, dude, really? You're being like this comes with the territory. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's just I agree. They need to flip it because Sami Zayn is clearly not the fan favorite going into this. I'm hoping Trick Williams wins. I think he probably will
Yeah, I
because
think so too.
he is just so over. I mean, the crowd just that man cannot just like Randy. He cannot get booed,
You
and
can't get
so
booed.
there
Yeah.
is that's
He's
what's
got too
going
much.
on
He's
here.
got way too much charisma.
Yeah,
Even heel version of him has way too much
I
charisma.
know. Like, oh my god, yeah, no. I if he don't
Yeah.
win, it's going to be ridiculous. But
Yeah. Well, and you had Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams, which was solid. It was good. Towards the end, you had Sammy getting pulled off the apron by Little Yachty. And then Sammy hit Little Yachty with a haluva kick, which distracted Trick, but it wasn't enough for Matt Cardona. He tried to get the surprise roll up, but couldn't get it. And then Trick Williams hit the trick shot on Cardona and got the win. Solid stuff. Again, I'm really certainly hoping when they get to WrestleMania, Trick Williams becomes the new United States Championship. I'd love to
without
see him.
shenanigans,
Yeah, no shenanigans. Like him to win clean, and then start that program with Carmelo Hayes.
yeah,
Like
that'll
that.
be
That's really
that'll
what I'm
be the
looking
match
forward
to
to.
look out for. Him and Carmelo Hayes for the title would be phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely. After this, you had the video package for Oba versus Brock at Mania, killing more time. And then you had Kit Wilson versus Danhausen. This was a really short match. Again,
It was so
for
good.
me, it was so good. This is where Danhausen actually, he looked really good in terms of his wrestling. Like, and you mentioned it before. He can actually wrestle. He's been injured a lot and he's been out of action quite a bit. So him looking as good as he has been, kind of historically with his injuries and the fact that he had like a year layoff and all that, it was great. I thought he did really, really well. It was a lot of fun. During the match, he had Kit Wilson climb to the top of the ring post, and then Danhausen sat up and cursed him, and then the pyro went off behind him. It malfunctioned and basically knocked him off of the turnbuckle. And then Danhausen hit a big boot afterwards and won. This was fun. I love, love, love the silliness. And I always liked it when Kane would like call fire out and things
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Undertaker would call down lightning. So the fact that Danhausen can actually like curse people during the matches and like make the pyrotechnics go off, this was just fun. This is like the kind of silly stuff that I can totally buy into. The wackiness of pro wrestling. It was too short, and then like the Miz tried to ambush Danhausen, the lights went out, and he escaped. So like the fact that he has like all the supernatural powers, I freaking loved all of this.
I do. It's so gimmicky, but I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it because even like during the match when he ran the ropes and then he like slid out the ring and like put his arm around the Miz and Miz
Around
thought
the
he was
Miz, yeah,
Kit
yeah, yeah.
Wilson. And Miz like, yeah, he's like, oh, even just little things like that are just like he's so good. And I'm glad people were able to see him wrestle a little bit. It wasn't a lot, but it was a little bit.
He was
But
on. He had that suplex with the bridge. Like it looked good.
yeah,
He looked
that
good.
Northern Light suplex was clean. I mean, he like I told you all, he can wrestle. It's just his gimmick is just so fun. And I love he just sat up and looked at him, and Kit Wilson was like, "What the heck?" And he was like, "You are cursed." And then boop, it was
Yeah,
just like a little fizzle, and Kit Wilson just like fell down. It was great. I loved it. So yes, I
it was,
loved
it was this is best for me, best thing of the night, for me, match of the night. And it was a really short match. Speaking of really short matches, we had the main event, which is Io Sky versus Jade Cargill, and this started with like almost no time. It was like less than 10
it.
minutes left
10 minutes left during their intros, like as they're walking out. I'm like,
as
oh
they're walking
god.
out. Yeah, BFAB and Meechin had been taken out backstage by Rhea prior to the match. It was really short. You had Io still injured. Jade hit the Jaded for the win, then got a chair to kind of pile onto Io. Rhea ran down for the save. Jade just retreated. They were out of time. Like this is one of those things. It felt so rushed, and then they were just running the credits. As soon as Jay, like Rhea ran down, and she didn't even do like a slow walk. She like ran full speed down there, and Jay got out of the ring and walked away. And it was like, executive producer Paul Levesque pops up, and I'm like, it's over. It did run 2 minutes over, so it went 3 hours and 2 minutes. They could have shaved off something. They could have shaved off many things. They could have shortened a lot of those segments that didn't need to go as long as they did to allow them proper time to finish, close out the main event, have a proper main event match, have that kind of proper resolution or rundown or ball between Rhea and Jade. But there just wasn't any time left in the show, and they ran over, which was wild, absolutely wild.
Yeah, it was like a just literally like a blink and you'll miss it deal. It's not like anything. I don't know. It's just it,
SmackDown was like watching a big commercial. It
it
was like
was
watching a big
because
commercial for
you could have
WrestleMania.
cut out all the if you honestly would have cut out all the Raw recap stuff,
Yeah.
then you would have had plenty of time for some good matches. But
Well, and don't do a 3 hour show. Like if you don't have enough stuff to fill it where you're
yeah,
having to run put all the raw stuff, then just make it 2 hours again. I always prefer like the tight 2 hour show versus like 3 hours of SmackDown, because all they did was plug in
hmm,
just promo
yep.
after video package after recap, and I'm like, this just it's too much. And the fact that the match of the night was a very short match with Danhausen in it tells you, like that was the best that they could do, was this very short match, and it was fun
And
and it
even
was
then, it
good.
was a great match. Like
Yeah,
it was fun. It
it
did
was
what it was
fun.
supposed to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that was SmackDown, and so we're gonna get, I guess, more of the same this week, because WrestleMania is next week. So Raw, these are the go home shows for WrestleMania. The card's pretty much done. Everything's filled out. There's not going to be any more matches that get added at this point. Hopefully, no more celebrity cameos than the ones we've already heard, but who knows? We'll see.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I mean, after that, now it's just the mad dash. We got Raw, and then SmackDown before Mania is going to have the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, which would be nice to see. I always like that one. That's always
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
So
I
we
mean,
shall see, y'all. And that's what we got for this week, everybody. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave your comments. What did you think of Raw and SmackDown? It was light on wrestling and heavy on promos. But and what do you think of that Danhausen match as well? We'd love to hear from you there, because that was good stuff. At least as far as we're concerned. Y'all may disagree. But that's what we got for this week. We'll be back next week with your WrestleMania recap. Happy WrestleMania week, everybody. I've been Michael D'Angelo. He's been El Comandante Daryl Ortiz. Have a great week, y'all. We'll see you.